guys, so check it out. We're back again. I know that might sound familiar because we did a lesson on this same exact type of groove, but now we're adding a lick or fill to it. So I'm going to show you that in this lesson. Let's go. So first and foremost, if you haven't seen that tutorial, I strongly suggest that you go take a look at that. We're breaking down a bass line on top of a drum groove, just knowing what to play. If you're just given the chords to the song, knowing how to manipulate that bass line and how to maneuver around that chord or the chord tone. Okay, so onto the riff or the lick. This is mainly for my beginner guys that are starting off playing songs, trying to figure out what fills to play and what to play inside of those spaces. I made it pretty simple for you so you can follow along. It's a part of a scale, and I didn't want to make it too difficult for you guys. So it's actually easy to learn and easy to play. Okay, so once you get the hang of it, as far as the rhythm, you'll be able to play this in no time. So I wanted to start off with bass line. I mean, you don't have to play that bass line, but in the last tutorial, we didn't play that bass line either. We just played the eighth notes. I just felt like being a little bit creative. So we just played the root notes, C to F. All right, and if you don't know what you can play on top of that, we have a C major chord. Let's just strip it down to its basic form. C major, F major. All right, so it goes from a C major chord to an F major chord. So 1 to the 4. So the 1 chord will be our Ionian scale. I said that too fast. Ionian scale. The 4 chord will be what? The Lydian scale. We know that, right? According to the modes and the number system. So Ionian, if I can play it right. So we have 1, 2, Ionian. Here we go. Lydian. Lydian. Okay, so that's an actual exercise to do as well, so you know exactly what chord and what scales to play on top of it. So we have 1 chord, major chord, 4 chord. It's a major chord, but it's a Lydian scale. So with this fill, we're starting on the 5. We're starting on the 5 of the 1 chord. So, in the key of C major, we're starting on the 5, so which is the G. Okay, so the 5th chord degree or scale degree. That's the whole entire lick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so what we're playing is we're almost starting it as if we're descending from a Mixolydian scale. So if we're playing a Mixolydian in the key of C major, that'll be a G Mixolydian scale. So we're starting on G. All right, remember it's where you start off that determines the scale. Okay, so. But I'm not going all the way down the scale. I'm playing the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes. The first 6 notes descending. Then I'm playing the G. I'm skipping to the G. I'm omitting the D. If I were to play that whole entire Mixolydian scale, it'll be the D, G, not D, sorry. I said D. A. I know I put a thing over my mouth, making sure I corrected it. But anyway, so we have walking all the way down. I omitted the A, excuse me. I'm thinking of the wrong string. And then I played the G. Okay, so let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. It starts on the end of 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so we can land nicely on that 1 chord on the downbeat of the measure. Okay, so let's slow it down. Boom. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Get it? Okay. It's gonna come a little bit more natural to you the more you do it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so if you're interested in the fingering, all I'm doing here is 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, and then shifting back to the original root note on the 8th fret, the C. If you have any other questions, that's the lick, that's the whole thing. Just be comfortable with it. I'll play it more and more. The more, like I said, the more repetitious you are with this scale, with this riff, the easier it is to become a part of your DNA. Even if you want to mix some notes up around in that. But as long as you're coming down on that measure, on that downbeat of that root note, because that's the most important thing, to come right back in, especially if you're playing a bass note. That's the difference between a fill and a solo. You have to be able to come in strong on that downbeat of the 1 or whatever case it may be, what the original bass line was. So the bass line is not lost in the mix, because you still want to be that foundation. You don't want to be soloing over, a couple measures, or doing a fill over a couple measures, and then the bass line is lost. So making sure you have enough time in between that. So what we're doing is one and two and three and four, and so we're almost dedicating a full measure before we come in on the downbeat for a fill or for a riff.